Hi, everybody. And today in reading, we are going to go back and think about what we did yesterday. So that's why I have yesterday's reading slide. Today's reading slide is going to be very similar. We're going to go back and we're going to continue to look at this learning target. I can describe the character in the text. Yesterday, you learned about how to describe what adjectives and nouns are. Remember, adjectives are describing the noun, and the nouns are person, place, or thing. So we're going to go back into the story, the story, my Rotten Red-Headed Brother by Patricia Polacco. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this. And so I have my learning target to remind us that it is, I can describe the characters in this setting. You're going to be successful because you're going to be able to pick out that character, one of the characters, and use those adjectives to describe that. So I have the book right here, and we're just going to reread just a little bit of this. When we are finished with our lesson today, you'll go back and you'll listen to the whole entire story. While you're listening to the whole story, you can pick one of the characters you're going to describe. And if there's something while you're listening to it that goes, oh, that right there tells me that the character is smart. Remember those adjectives, things that you ended up using to describe yourself. I have right here behind me just a great reminder of that when we're describing a character, we're thinking about what they look like right here, what they look like, and how they think or they feel, how they act, what they say or what they do. Okay, so now looking back there, how are they? What do they look like? What do they think or feel, act, say, or do? Really looking into the text, listening to the text as we read it, and picking out those words that help us really describe who that character is. Those adjectives as described. What do they look like? How do they feel? What do they act? And some of the things they say or do. And do is the act. So, I'm going to really think about the character that I'm going to pick out is the grandma. So, if you have blank paper at your house, you're going to grab a piece of blank, but you're going to need that blank paper and a pencil. And then your great listening ears while you're listening to the story. But watch what I'm going to do. Remember, I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to have you do and turn in, and you're going to turn in your work and seesaw. So I have my great paper. Before I even get started, I'm going to write my name. If you don't have a blank paper, that's fine. You can use the lined paper, and that's okay too. Just any plain paper that you have. I know that some of us ended up getting that sent home, and some of us, we just need to find that. So when you are working, you don't need to get it right now. You can get it at the end. Well, I'm going to show you how I'm going to set up my paper. So always put your name. We're going to do it like not vertically. We're going to turn it horizontal and we're going to make a bubble map to help us really describe our character. So I'm going to put my name at the top. I'm going to do my best writing. And today is, always put the today's date. I believe it is 12/1/2002. All right, so My Rotten Red-Headed Older Brother by Patricia Polacco. Like I said, I already know, I love her books, I already know which character I'm going to use. And which character I'm going to describe today. But I'm going to get us all reminded who the characters, really those main characters. Without those characters, there wouldn't be a story. We are describing those characters because without them, like I said, wouldn't be a story. Wouldn't be a story. I'm going to try to move my picture out of the way. I don't want to be huge. Trying to just move me up out of the way so you can see. All right, much better. So right away, I'm going to read a few pages and then and show you how I use the text, the words from the text to help me describe that character. So my brother and our mother and I all lived with my grandparents on their farm in Union City, Michigan. Now, my babushka, my grandmother, knew lots of things. So remember, I said that's the character I'm going to describe. We've already read this. We know without her, there wouldn't be a really big story. So I'm going to use her as an example of how to describe. So I'm going to take this and move it away, and I'm going to make my bubble map. So you can make your bubble map after you read the story, and then when you do your read, listen to, and you can add it. That's what I'm doing. This is our read, our listen to part. We've already read it, so now I'm going to go back and go, I can describe it. The reason why we're making sure we can describe characters in our story is so that we can show that we understand our stories. And also, if we're able to pull out those main characters and describe them, then we're able to retell a story using those languages, using words from the text as well. So that's the why we are taking time to really look at, can we pick out the character and describe it? Helps us understand the story a little bit better too. So I'm going to put, since she called her Babushka, I'm putting it in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and write Babushka. And I'm going to put a dash so then I remind myself that it is grandmother. You are going to today pick either the boy or the girl to describe. Now we're making a bubble map. Did you see how I wrote the name of the character in here? I'm going to put Babushka. Oops, I need to fix something. I wrote the character name in here, and I'm going to make it Babushka is. So it's that sentence, Babushka. And since it's her name, I'm going to do that. Babushka, grandmother is ... So we're going to finish that. Whoop, there we go. And now I'm going to do that circle. So when we are using, these are called thinking maps. When we're using our thinking maps, we always do our writing first, then we do the circle afterwards. So then we know that we have enough room for our writing. So I have that in the middle. See how I didn't write too big. So Babushka, which is grandmother. Grandmother is, what is she? How are we going to describe her? So we're going to describe her. All right, so now let's go back to the story. We're looking at how is she? What does she act like? What does she do? What does she say? How does she look? So now my Babushka, my grandmother, knew lots of things. She knew just how to tell a story. Ooh, she knew how to make ordinary things magical, and she knew how to make the best chocolate cake in Michigan. After she told my brother and me a grand tale from her homeland, we'd always ask, Booby, is that true? She answered, of course it's true, but it may not have happened. Then she laughed. Right here, right away in this first page, it gave me a lot of detail about who she is, what she's like. She said that she's a storyteller, a good storyteller. So there, I'm going to put that right here. I'm going to put a line, and I'm going to write storyteller. She is, Babushka is, or grandmother is, a storyteller. A storyteller. See how I'm writing the words, and then I'm going to do that. I'm going to put that she is smart because it says she knew a lot of things. So Babushka, grandmother is, I'm going to go over here, smart. Because she said that. She knew a lot of things in there, so she's pretty smart. I'm thinking, too, that she is a good cook, right? Because we talked about she right here, it talks about that chocolate cake, the best chocolate cake in Michigan. So she knew how to make ordinary things magical. Ooh, I might say she's magical. I might say she's magical because it has that word right there. I'm going to do that. Just from this. And I bet you as we read the story more, we're going to find out that she truly is magical, the things that she says and does. So is magical. And magical in her own way. And then I'm going to put a good cook. So she is a good cook. And I can explain why I think she is a good cook because it goes back into the story. So, oh, and she's fun, right? She is fun. So fun. Now, that all came from just this one page. So when I go and I'm going to continue to read, and I'm going to make sure that I have evidence from the text that really shows that she is fun. I'm just going to read just a few more pages. You need to listen to the whole story to really make sure you describe your characters that I'm asking you today. Remember, I'm doing Grandma. Now, I knew that she loved me all right, but I didn't quite understand how she could like my older brother, Richard. He had orange hair that was like wire. He was covered in freckles and looked like a weasel with glasses. The one thing that my booby didn't seem to know was how perfectly awful my brother really was. Mind you, he was always nice whenever she was around, but as soon as she leave, he would do something terrible to me and laugh. Oh no. Oh, so this is getting into her and her brother, right? There were so many things I couldn't stand about him. The worst was that he was always telling me he could do just about everything better than I. But I could pick one blueberry. I can pick more blueberries than you can, he jeered at me one day. No, you can't. Can so, cannot, can, he whispered. Now I said louder, can, he whispered so that I could hardly hear him. Not, I screamed back. Well, I'm going to have you continue to listen to the story, but I want to show you about how I am going to continue to describe the grandmother, Babushka. So when you are finished doing your bubble map with describing either the brother or the sister, so Richard, or it's actually Patricia in this story, then you're going to come down to the bottom and you're going to write a sentence saying what they are using evidence from the text. So we said Babushka is, I'm going to put Babushka is a fun storyteller. And so I'm going to put that. She's also a good cook, and I'm going to use the evidence from the text. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to write Babushka because that's the character, right? Babushka is a fun storyteller and a good cook. So then I'm going to go make sure that I use examples, evidence from the text that really shows that I didn't just make that up, that I got that from the text. So right here it said she knew she made the best chocolate cakes in Michigan, and right here about the story. So I'm going to go because right here it says she knew just how to tell a good story. So there is some evidence from the text. So Babushka is a fun storyteller and a good cook. She made, or the text said, ooh, that would be even better than that. That shows that I got that information from the book. Oh, I'm so glad that you guys helped me with that. The text said she made the best chocolate cakes in, I'm going to go back and look, Michigan. That's a big word, right? Making sure. And you guys have the book. I know it's on video, but you can pause it and you can go back and you can get that all from there at any time. So she made the best chocolate cakes in Michigan. All right. So, oops, you didn't get to see that. So there we go. Now, that's what I would like you to do is make your circle map with either you're describing the brother, Richard, or the girl, which is Patricia. What are they? What type of character are they? Putting their names in there, taking and thinking about the story, what the story is telling you, what the text is telling you. What type of character are they? What do they do, say, how do they act? And then bring it down and write a sentence, and then giving that text evidence. So I have some examples of what she is like, and then I use that information to write that sentence. Going back, checking, I want you to check. Did I meet that learning target? I can describe the character in the text. I did. I was able to describe Babushka, the grandma, from the text and using text evidence to help me with that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how you describe either Richard, the red-headed rotten older brother, or Patricia, the little sister, sharing your work on Seesaw when you're done.